Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen, and micro schools. Have you heard of micro schools? Because I know for a fact that I haven't until just now, but the good thing is that teachers unions are scared of them. One line from the article says, "It's a strange pitch from the teachers union. Micro schools are dangerous. They help their students learn more." This seems like a reason to broaden access, not restrict it. And that's what Prenda has done by eliminating tuition, make micro schools accessible to low-income families. I know for a fact that whatever makes teachers unions more scared, I'm gonna be in favor for it, because those teachers unions are corrupt and they only care about money for themselves and more money for corrupt teachers as well. I mean, when have you actually heard of a teachers union actually helping out the students? You've never heard of it. It's just impossible to find. And this is great to see that teachers unions are actually scared of micro schools. And this is actually what it's called, micro schools. These are tiny little schools that are completely separate from the normal education system, and yet they give a much better education towards students than the education system does itself. Which is funny because we've always relied on the education system. Not always, but for a very, very long time. And I think we've regretted it over time because it's brought us nothing but more ignorant kids that are very arrogant at the same time because they are taught to believe that they know more than their own parents. And as we've seen from my previous video about the 17-word solution and how ethics were removed from schools, banned from schools in the 1960s, public schools specifically, it's just kind of strange to see how they would do that. And we are now seeing that since the 1960s, public education, the whole education system has been going down a very steep hill for a very long time now. And just this year, it's gotten a lot worse because now we are seeing tons of Marxist crap in not only, high schools, but in elementary schools as well, middle schools. It's everywhere now. I mean, a couple years ago, we would occasionally see some transgender activists going to some preschool, which is just strange to think about. And they were teaching kids about how it's okay to be transgender, and they're teaching preschoolers this. So we saw that a couple years ago, but we are just seeing now this year how teachers themselves are starting to teach leftist lies and leftist propaganda, and these teachers unions are promoting it, permitting it, and they love it, in fact, because they agree with those leftist ideas. And these teachers unions push to pay teachers more. But with micro schools, where we have kids actually learning, that's where we should pay teachers more because kids are actually learning at that point. And I think that those teachers that are actually teaching kids would actually refuse to get paid more because they are probably better people that have a moral compass and they care more about educating kids than they do getting paid more. The teachers union's tiny new enemy. Why is the elephant afraid of the mouse? Your child's teacher may not know, but this union does. In September, the National Education Association, America's largest labor union, produced an internal opposition report on Prenda, a tiny Arizona-based, good job Arizona, microschool provider. I obtained a copy of the document which picks apart Prenda's vulnerabilities but also offers a warning. The opposition report has documented widespread support for microschools. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos is expected to receive a presentation about Prenda on Thursday at the charter school in Phoenix. Midway between home and private schools, microschools bring together a small group of students, 5 to 10 a school at Prenda, usually a private school residence. Instruction is handled by an education service provider like Prenda. So it's halfway between private school and homeschooling, which I think that's a good middle ground where you have kids interacting with each other, but it is better education at the same time. And yes, you have less kids, whereas, in public schools you would have 20, 30, maybe 40 kids to a class. That's rare, but you can see it sometimes. And there's just too much chaos and no one's being taught anything really important that will help them throughout their lives. But in these micro schools, we're seeing how with this midway between homeschooling and private schools, it's a perfect middle ground for kids. And that is who education is supposed to serve. It's kids, not teachers unions and teachers. School is not meant to produce ideologically driven, mindless kids. So there are a couple problems with the micro schools. They could be potentially subject to some more regulations, which would cause them to basically get killed off because of the teachers unions wanting to create more regulations, because the teachers unions tend to work closely with the government to get rid of things like micro schools. And the teachers unions hate homeschooling, they hate charter schools, they hate anything that they cannot control. So this was kind of a given that they were going to be potentially subject to some sort of regulation by the teachers unions. That might not mean that they just are completely killed off, but it could mean that they are decreased to such a small proportion that they would then just become homeschooling or private schooling, which would then kind of break them up even more. But hey, it's fine. Whenever you fight an evil beast, there's always going to be consequences. You might get stabbed once or twice by like a crazy claw that they have. Like, the teachers unions are an evil beast that feasts on the minds of kids and turns them into mindless, ideologically driven individuals. Not even individuals, they are like a hive mind of idiots when they come out of these schools. And that's not necessarily an insult to the kids, it's criticizing the teachers and the teachers unions that permit this, and the principals, assistant principals. Really, they're all just working together and they're all piles of trash. So when you fight an evil beast like the teachers unions, you know, there's always going to be some way that you could get just completely shut down because of them. But I think that is a risk worth taking at any time, because we need to take down these teachers unions. They do no good for students whatsoever. So what can we do to make sure that we do take these out? Well, micro schools is a good way to start off. Homeschooling, micro schools, and charter schools. Those are like the three main ways to take these out, because they all kind of work similarly, micro schools, homeschooling, and charter schools, because they all provide an actual good education that will produce hardworking individuals that can think for themselves and are critical thinkers. And I think one critical thinker versus 100 mindless individuals, the critical thinker is always going to win. So teachers unions, I hope you're scared, because we're coming for you. Our micro schools, our homeschooling, our charter schools, we are all coming for you, and we are going to make sure that you get shut down. It's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be super difficult, but we are going to try. We may fail, but we are going to definitely try our hardest to get rid of you, because you produce nothing good and you bring nothing good to this world. You create individuals that are driven by politics, which politics most of the time is not even reality. At least most of the politics that people play now. But teachers unions, we're coming for you, and I hope you're scared. You clearly are scared just from this tiny little micro school, but we're coming for you, so we'll see you later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn notifications on, and go check out these two videos you see right now up on screen. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.